golfing world has been split into two factions following the ongoing feud between the Saudi-backed LIV Golf Series and the PGA Tour, which has led to some serious drama. With players leaving left and right, and Mickelson allegedly losing millions to gambling addictions, we got a lot to talk about today. So in today's video, we're going to be going over the latest updates in the world of golf. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First up, reckless spending. Phil Mickelson has called his previous gambling habits reckless and embarrassing, as he opened up about his troubled past during an interview with London for the opening of the LIV Golf Invitational event. According to Alan Shipnuck's biography on Mickelson, the six-time major winner reportedly suffered gambling losses of well over $40 million between 2010 and 2014. The golfer said that hundreds of hours of therapy have now helped him overcome his addiction. He added that gambling has been part of his life ever since he could remember, but about a decade ago is when it became reckless, and he didn't like that people knew about it. He finished off by saying that it wasn't a threat to him or his financial security, it was just a number of poor decisions. This is following the reports of him receiving over $200 million to play in the Saudi-sponsored LIV Golf Series, which was further controversial following his statement calling Saudis scary mothers earlier this year. Although he noted that he was aware of their human rights violations, he said that he was still willing to play for them anyways in order to gain leverage over the PGA Tour. Next, Saudi stooge. Phil Mickelson met with reporters for the first time ever since he self-imposed exiled on himself over almost 4 months before the Saudi-backed LIV Golf Invitational Series inaugural tournament occurred. It was a very awkward and uncomfortable affair, with the 51-year-old golfer being grilled sharply by reporters and taking long pauses to carefully think about his answers. The central topic of the interview was the assassination of the Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi by the Saudi government, and how Phil Mickelson and other golf players were taking part in an act of sports washing for the Saudi government. During the cringeworthy 30-minute-long Q&A session, Mickelson talked about not condoning human rights violation multiple times, and he did his best to paint LIV golf as something which could be good for the sport of golf. One interesting moment from the session was Mickelson refusing to acknowledge whether he'd been serving a ban from the PGA Tour, considering the fact that he last played a PGA Tour event in January at Torrey Pines. Mickelson chose not to speak publicly on PGA Tour issues, but however did confirm that he'll be playing in the US Open next week at the Country Club in Brooklyn, saying that he was looking forward to it. So what is LIV Golf? Saudi Arabia's increasing involvement in the world of sports has led them to target golf, initially through individual tournaments on existing male and female tours. But now it's evolved into quite a lucrative series, fronted by the golf legend Greg Norman. However, it's been strongly opposed by the PGA and DP World Tours. The LIV event is one of 8 that have been planned across the world in 2022 in a serious disruption plan. The reason it's called LIV Golf is because of its relation to Roman numerals. 54 is the score under par if every hole played in the tournament is a birdie. Each competition is played over the course of 3 rounds, as opposed to the usual 4, which are standard on mainstream tours. The goal was to provide a shorter and more exciting tournament model, along with a team element, presided over by a dozen captains. The teams are also to be selected at a draft party by each captain, with the top 3 teams winning millions of dollars in prizes. Now, reasons for the controversies. In a nutshell, there's 2 reasons: the source for funding for the LIV golf investments and its threat to the status quo of the game. Saudi Arabia's PIF has Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman as its chairman. A declassified U.S. intelligence report released in February of 2021 asserted that bin Salman was complicit in the killing of dissident Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, an allegation bin Salman has denied. The Gulf Kingdom is one of the states accused of investing in the sport and using high-profile events to sports wash its reputation in other parts of the world. When asked about the Saudi Arabia's regime and the killing of Khashoggi, Norman said, "We all make mistakes," while also adding that they're changing their culture within their country. The PIF also provides money for sporting events, including Formula 1, boxing, football, and golf. On the playing side, the dominant American-based PGA Tour has refused to allow its members waivers to play in these events and threatened to ban players who do take part, although no official sanctions have been meted out yet. Dustin Johnson, Sergio Garcia, and Kevin Na are among the players to rescind their PGA Tour membership. The European-based DP World Tour is also yet to announce sanctions, although it is expected both tours are waiting for their players to tee off at 14:15 BST on Thursday before announcing a decision. Next, resigning from the PGAs. With a $20 million purse for the individual competition and a $4 million winner's payday, it's easy to assume that hard cash is the biggest and maybe the only attraction this week for those teeing it up in the first of 8 events that make up the Saudi-backed LIV Golf Invitational Series. Yep, the size of the prize fund is a common factor for just about all of the 48-strong field, according to the Irish golfer Rory McIlroy. But there are other motivations at play depending on whom you talk to. According to Laurie Cantor, there is more to it than cash. The chance to be on a team with people who were your heroes growing up and to have a great opportunity to learn from them. Adding those things together make playing straightforward a decision for everybody. But more immediately, players are also seeking protection from possible PGA Tour retribution. The PGA Tour has insisted that, since it denied all requests for a conflicting event release to allow players to compete in the LIV event, any of its members that that put a tee on the ground at the Centurion Golf Club on Thursday will be subject to discipline. So, to avoid any legal confrontation, golfers decided to simply leave the tour entirely. It's essentially a "you can't fire me, I quit" move, which is a smart decision for anyone who wishes to take part in the LIV Series. So, there you have it. Fears of retribution, less golf every week, and the chance to play with legends are all the reasons for resigning PGA Tour membership and joining the LIV Championship. Oh yeah, and a boatload of money too. Can't forget about that. Up next, Tiger Woods refuses a $1 billion offer. Throughout his career, Tiger Woods has represented so many new and innovative things in the game of golf. He's done more for the game than any other player since Arnold Palmer, and yet to his core, Woods is old school. A student of history, one whose advice to others represents an appreciation for how the game should be played. As it turns out, he's willing to put his money where his mouth is. During a stretch where we've seen players like Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson threaten their good standing with the PGA Tour, where they've spent the entirety of their career so far, Woods has reportedly done the opposite. That's according to Greg Norman, the CEO of LIV Golf Investments, who, in an interview with the Washington Post, said that the 15-time major champion refused an enormous offer to join. Though, of course, whatever element of truth there is to Norman's comments probably overshadows the various complexities involved with a deal that large. The total would likely represent a top-line number that would include a signing-on fee, but would also be dependent of making a certain number of starts, an ownership stake in the potential future value of the LIV Series, and royalties from ticket sales, among other things. Nevertheless, the fact of the matter is Woods reportedly refused what was no doubt an eye-watering sum, and in doing so, held true to his statement that he made in support of the PGA. That's where my legacy is. Up next, my body needs more time. Tiger Woods announced on Tuesday that he will not play next week's US Open at Brooklyn to continue his recovery from severe leg injuries that he sustained in a car accident last year. The 15-time major champion withdrew from the PGA Championship last month after the third round. He made the cut at Augusta National and at the PGA at Southern Hills, where he pulled out following the third worst major round of his career. The American is a 3-time US Open champion, with the last of those titles coming at 2008 in Torrey Pines, where he defied a left knee injury to win in a playoff. Woods said that he's planning to be ready to play in Ireland at the JP McManus Pro-Am tournament the week before the British Open. He's lifted the claret jug twice at St Andrews in Scotland, in 2000 and 2005. Now sitting 881st in the world rankings, Woods previously came back after undergoing spinal fusion surgery in 2017 to win his most recent major title at Masters 3 years ago. One thing's for sure, we can't wait to see the GOAT in action, and we wish him a speedy recovery. That's a wrap for this video. I'll see you in the next one.